Hi, and welcome to Beyond the Falls podcast. I'm Sarah Jenkins, and today I'm joined with Sarah Sharp with the 2911 Project. Sarah, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's a true honor to be here.
Well, I'm so glad you're here. First of all, tell me what brought you to River Falls. How are you connected to this community?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, thank you for having me. It's such an honor to talk and have you listen to a little bit about me, right?
Yes.
So how did I get to River Falls? Well, I'll start out by saying I have 3 years of sobriety. So I have been sober for just about 3 years. And one of the ways that I got to River Falls was I was seeking, I was looking, right? I was looking for the solution to my problem. And 12 years ago, I thought that was a boy. So I followed him here to River Falls and boom, here I ended up. You know, fast forward a decade or so. And what I actually found in River Falls is a gem. I found a gem of a community, just a generosity in this town that is unmatched from anywhere else I've ever been. And the recovery community here as well is incredible. Supportive individuals that have nothing but love and support and that want to serve the community, the recovery community, but also likewise the community. And so I couldn't leave. It's got me trapped here and I love it. I absolutely love it.
Oh, I love that. And I love to hear, that I love to hear that you're here to stay. And I can tell that. But what's really cool, and I just met you a few weeks ago, but you shared with me a new project that you're starting. It's relatively new, like we're like months in, right?
Yes,
like
yes.
a couple weeks in.
Yep.
And it's called the 2911 Project. And I want you to tell me kind of what inspired you?
Yeah.
And then just tell us about the project.
Yeah.
There's a lot to learn about.
It is a lot. So like I said, I am in recovery and I am sober, and being in this community and plugged in, I have found incredible resources. This town is full of incredible resources, and one of them being the Kinnick Treatment Center that's here in town for drugs and alcohol abuse. And in that treatment center, in my time, I was asked to speak there after a certain amount of sobriety. And when I would speak there, I would tell my story. And after a few different rotations of doing that consecutively over a number of years, what I found was I was having people approach me afterwards. And they were like, oh, I remember you from the last time I was here. I remember your story. And my ego was like, oh, great, my story. Yes, thanks for remembering me. But my heart broke. Because what it meant was they were back. And why? Why are you back? Why are you here again? And so I started, throughout working and doing service work in the community, I would hear their stories, and their stories were very similar. They would come to Kinnick and they would find amazing resources. They get plugged into a church. They get plugged in with a community, with a sponsor, with people that would come around them and lift them up and support them. And then when their stay at Kinnick was over, there was no availability for them to stay in the town, whether that be financial resources to be able to rent an apartment here or whatever that barrier looked like for them in that moment, they couldn't stay. A lot of that has to do with housing, affordable housing for individuals who are sober. And so they would have to be shipped back to where they came from, their same friend groups, the same way of life, their same jobs. And unfortunately, that led to the same kind of coping skills with alcohol and drugs, and they would end up back at Kinnick. And what the project does, how this became about was the need for safe and sober living in this town. Like I said, the resources are incredible. The support here is incredible. What we don't have is we don't have a place for them to land after they're in treatment. So kind of what the flow chart looks like, what that process looks like.
Yep.
Yeah, so that chart. And this is, I want to be very clear, this is a very general overview umbrella of what a recovery process could look like.
Yep.
This is not everybody's story. This is not how everybody's story looks like. It's not how mine looked like, right? But this is just a general overview. First, you have what would be the detox center. That's to treat acute physical needs for coming off of drugs or alcohol, to make sure they're physically safe in doing so. That lasts for a very, very short period of time in a hospital setting, in a medical setting. We're talking about a week or two. And then they go to some place called a primary treatment center, and that is very restrictive. It's a locked facility. They're not able to work. People are attending groups. They have resources readily available 24/7 in that facility. That's stay is short, relatively short as well, 30 to 60 days, whatever that program looks like. And then after that, they would be recommended for what would be considered a secondary treatment program, or a secondary, or, you know, I think the old term for it is halfway house.
Sure.
Well, that's what Kinnick Treatment Center here is in town. It's a secondary treatment center. And there's a little bit more freedom in that. Now all of a sudden we're able to start working. Now we're getting out into the community instead of being in a confined space. Right now we're starting to learn about this freedom and how that looks like with still working a program and still recovering. And that stay is relatively short as well. I mean, we're talking anywhere from 30, 60, 90 days. And in that time, we've just started getting a job. We've just started getting our support systems around us. And we're starting to get plugged in. Mm-hmm. And then after that stay is over, where do we go?
Right.
And that's where the project comes into that chart. Well, what can happen, and you can see from that red line and that arrow, the expectation without sober housing is that you just go to independent living. Well, you've only been working for 30, 60 days. Getting a deposit down for an apartment, getting the first or last month's rent, whatever that looks like, is near impossible when we've just started living life on life's terms. And so that's the need that the project hopes to fulfill, is just creating safe and sober environments for individuals to live in and to start easing into independent living. Continue to work, continue to build up those savings accounts, continue to learn what it means to live life on life's terms and being a contributing member to society. I'll tell you from experience, when I lived here before recovery, I just wanted to take. What can I have? What can I get from the community? What can I take? And that's not what we're taught that we're supposed to live. And that this is a place where they can learn that we can serve other people in the community. We can find jobs here. We can be contributing members to a community instead of just taking and causing pain. And that is the hope, is that this is a safe and sober environment for people to land, to get their feet under them, to learn how to live that way, and then to set them up for success for independent living.
Yeah.
Preferably in this community. We'd love for them to stick around, but if that's not what it looks like, you know, they can go back out and to their original spaces. But really it's just having that safe place to land in the interim between the two of treatment and then independent living.
Yeah, it seems like an important kind of gap in there, and you guys are filling it for people to be more successful in their recovery.
And if they're ready, right? And not everybody will be ready, but when they are, that home is a place where they can be and continue to be ready and grow in their recovery.
That's just incredible, and it's incredible that you're taking this on. Yeah, what's kind of the time period that you can expect to have your stay there? Or
what that looks like right now is, so this need came from also that there are several sober homes closing this year in the community.
There are?
Yes.
Specifically River Falls.
In River Falls, correct.
Okay.
And so there was a meeting that was held on what can we do about it, and what can leaders in this community do about this, and just being ready. And so from that birthed the nonprofit, the 2911 Project. And from that, it has just been, I can't even tell you. It feels like open door after open door, just a snowball effect of things falling into place. If you would have asked me 6 months ago if I was going to be running a sober home, I would have said, absolutely not me. I'm not an expert in this whatsoever. But again, going back to the resources in this community, whether recovery community or just the River Falls community in general, the generosity, the support. So what has happened since then, I thought I was just filing paperwork, but we
Surprise.
We were able to acquire a property, and we will own it here shortly soon. Okay. We are under contract for that. And since then, we have started a construction project to build rooms in the basement so that there would be more space available for anybody that was going to be moving in. And with that process, it has been incredible. The balls just started rolling. It was there were a couple leaders in the community that have stepped up and said that they want to be a part of the homes, and so they're going to be what we call a house manager, or the person on site that's going to be assisting and coming alongside these gentlemen who are further along in their recovery, that they can kind of lead them in what this is going to look like. So we already have those two gentlemen living in the house right now, getting it prepared and ready for the guys. And on July 1st, we see about 6 more beds opening up.
Okay.
Yeah, we have 2 interviews this weekend for residents to be moving in. And with that, it is a committee. We have a group of individuals that are coming alongside us that want to serve, and part of that is doing these interviews. And so we'll have these interviews, and guys can start moving in on July 1st.
Wow, that's incredible.
It is amazing.
And you said, so this is specifically for men,
Correct.
this one facility.
Yep.
Are there any plans for something for females?
Yes, so that is heavy on my heart. My experience in recovery is as a woman and as a single mom. I have 2 children that went through this process with me, and there are barriers, just like there are for men, there are for women as well, and they're unique barriers. What we see is right now the highest immediate need is for men, as the Kinnick Treatment Center is for male population. But with that, if we're able to create this stable environment, learn from this environment for the men, we do have hopes, and we are looking at properties. And we're praying and hoping that this works out, but our heart really is with women and children as well. And so we do have plans in the hopefully near future.
Awesome.
That we would be opening up a place where mamas and babies could land as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome too. Like, thinking of your home and being with your children and having to have that space. I get why that's important, and a safe place to recover.
Yes.
Also.
For me, it was also about getting my integrity back. For me, it was about having a safe place to call mine, that I was worth having a home to live in. For the first 30 days of my recovery, I lived in a hotel with my children. My son was 6 months old. I was washing bottles in a sink in a hotel. And what I realized when a door did open for me, and having a home that I could decorate, that I could call my own, that my babies were safe in, that I could lay them down, that I was worth that I really was, and that there were people that saw that in me and believed in me, that gave me a chance to live in a home. And from there, it just put me on this trajectory of, I am worth this, and I'm going to work at this.
Yeah.
And so many things happened from that. So yes, my heart for mamas and babies is to give them that safe and sober place too, but that they can get their integrity back, that they can have that and know that they're worthy of that, of having a safe space.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing, Sarah. Now, you previously mentioned there are some other homes closing down.
Yes. Yep.
Tell me what the need in our community is for this type of housing.
Yeah, so the need is exponential. I think the numbers that we got from Kinnick is approximately 3 guys a week are graduating from Kinnick.
Wow.
That means that 3 individuals, if their path is to stay in River Falls, are looking for safe and sober housing, affordable safe and sober housing.
Sure.
I think, with the rental market the way it is in River Falls, the market value of rent is high. It just is, especially with individuals who have only been working for 30, 60, 90 days.
Yep.
It's near impossible to be able to come up with that kind of money. There are not a lot of assistance programs for individuals to be able to come up with that kind of financial assistance in that short amount of time. Those things take time to get approved.
I was going to say, it's not much.
It's not a lot of time when you think about it. And so the need is exponentially high. And I think also the reason why the need is high, and this is a compliment to the River Falls community, but we have a gem, and I mean that so earnestly. This community, and specifically the recovery community itself, saved my life. And I don't want to go anywhere else. I don't want to live anywhere else. And I have been given a gift. I know that my recovery and my sobriety is a privilege, and it's an honor to have that. And not everybody gets that opportunity in their story of recovery. And so I see it as an opportunity to go back and maybe lower the barrier for someone else that needs it so desperately. And the stories and the people that you meet along the way, the need is there, and there are people who are earnestly seeking to stay in this town, and it is near impossible. So I also am affiliated with Servant of the Shepherd Church. It's called SOS for short. We consider ourselves a recovery church. That's really just a sidebar to the percentage of people in recovery at our church is about 80% of our congregation is in recovery. And they do have 3 sober homes. They never have an opening. Now that's a testament to how wonderful they're being ran and how great that happens. But the openings, there isn't even a wait list, because the openings are so few and far between.
Yeah.
That it's just not an opportunity to get into.
Yeah.
The Kinnick sober home, the Gerber house, that has been under renovation and has been closed to the residents for an extended period of time as well.
Yeah.
And so it's the number of individuals who are graduating and looking to seek to stay compared to the number of beds is so unequal. It is unbelievably unequal, and that is the barrier that we're trying to lower.
Yeah. Wow, and it's an incredible thing that you're doing, and our community is so lucky to have you. You're a gem.
Oh, I appreciate that, but I definitely am not doing this alone. We have the support of so many people, and like I said, I am no expert. I'm especially no expert in trying to tell men how to be men in recovery, and that's where this community has really stepped up. Yeah. You know, a sidebar conversation or a sidebar story, a really quick one. We had to halt all construction for a few different weeks, several weeks. We had to halt all construction. We had to stop everything because we, again, safe and sober housing. We wanted to make sure that the construction project was safe, and we needed egress windows to make sure that the windows or the bedrooms downstairs were safe. And the bids I was getting back from contractors, it was like $3,900 a piece. We've had one fundraiser. That's our entire budget. There's no way we're going to be able to afford this and continue the construction project. So I said, we got to stop. We have to focus on these egress windows. And if that's what we have to do, that's what we have to do. I sent out a newsletter. I sent out several prayer requests. And I said, we're going to wait. And I know that this will happen, but it just has to happen, not in my timing. And within 24 hours of that newsletter going out, I had 2 gentlemen respond, take a look at the house, and between the 2 of them, they donated labor and materials, and the egress windows are fully funded.
Oh, that's incredible. That's 2 more beds for you to...
Yeah. It'll actually be 3, but in those
3.
2 bedrooms,
okay.
One of the bedrooms is extremely large, and we're able to comfortably fit two beds in that larger bedroom. So
Wow.
that'll be 3 more beds because this community has just come alongside this project, and I cannot put in an egress window. I know nothing about construction, and so just the response that we have seen, and the support from different churches like Luther Memorial Church and SOS Church, support from individuals in the community. I'm definitely not doing this alone, and that's why I know it can be successful here.
Yep.
Is because how this community responds to need.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. It's just, it gives me goosebumps to hear that. So it's incredible. Speaking of, you mentioned a fundraiser.
Yes.
Do you guys have any plans for another fundraiser, maybe down the road? I know, I think you mentioned it was maybe earlier in the spring, but.
Yeah, it was. So the fundraiser, we had one fundraiser. It was completely sponsored by Luther Memorial Church, and that was able to cover the construction and the property itself, and that covered starting the construction project. Right now, we don't have any fundraising in the near future as far as going out and trying to, it takes money to throw fundraisers. It takes resources, and we're really trying to stay focused on the community and stay focused on the guys that are going to be moving in. And so right now, all of our resources are being plugged into this house alone and making sure that this can be available as soon as possible. Making sure we have the furniture in there. We've been getting a lot of donations of household items.
Wonderful.
And so just really trying to pour everything we have into this first property to get it up and running and successful. What I can tell you is it will be self-supporting at some point, right?
Yeah.
In the very beginning, it's not. But, there is a fee, there's a lodging fee, and those types of things that is a normal process for independent living. When you live on your own, there will be rent and there will be costs to the living on our own, right?
Yep.
And so there is a cost to this. And so eventually it should be self-supporting. We are a 501c3. We do accept donations. But one of the most impactful ways that this project has been carried forward is through the time and talent donations.
Okay.
That people who have different times and talents and have that resource of availability, right? That they are so willing to give.
Yeah.
that the investment of time. And I think it is underappreciated what people can do with a little bit of time and with the skills that they already have. We don't want to negate or downplay the financial donations that we've received. They have been paramount in getting this started. And the story I told you about the egress windows, it really was that someone decided to take time out of their day to come look at the windows and say, yes, I can do this. And they're going to work after work to make sure these windows get done. Yeah. That alone, if you're doing a cost analysis, doubled our financial donations in just that volunteering of time. And so I do want to say that there are so many people that have skills, whether that's cooking or cleaning or, there's so many things that we can come together as a community to serve one another. And that has been the most impactful to see, is how individuals find themselves skilled cooking or giving rides. How about that? A lot of these guys don't have access to a vehicle, or they've lost their license and they're working on getting it back, and they need a ride to a job interview. They need a ride to a resource center, and people who are willing to just take time and get to know people and sit and talk with them. How about a coffee call list? If you got time and you want to sit down and have coffee and then learn about somebody else, like those are where the resources come from that really make an impact in this project.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. If somebody wants to donate their skills or their time, who do they contact?
It'd be me. It would be me. I guess I am the sole resource phone answerer of the project. You have the contact information and the email address and the phone number. And that goes both ways. If you know someone that's struggling, if you know someone that is looking for safe and sober housing, definitely have them reach out. There is an application process and an interview process, but that phone number will get you in touch directly with me, and I can help coordinate. But there's also the PO box. We have cards that I can leave with you, and I can hand out as well that you can explain your time and talent donation, and we can see how we can coordinate that in, because there is a spot to serve. I guarantee whatever it is, quilting, I can find a spot for you, okay? There is just always ways to serve in this community and with these sober homes. And getting in contact with me, and that would be the best way to serve.
Okay. That's good. I can do that, and I will make sure I share that in the comments when we post this episode. Before we go, is there anything else that you would like to share with us?
Yeah, I am just so grateful. This is a very unique opportunity that I've been afforded to come here and talk about the project. So Sarah, thank you. Thank you for having a heart for our community. Thank you for seeing the importance of this. And so thank you for giving me a platform for just share my heart about what's going on here. And I definitely encourage anybody who is suffering to reach out. Anybody that knows somebody that's suffering, just to reach out. And if it's my phone number they call, I can get them in contact with someone that can help.
Okay. That sounds great. And I think what you're doing is, it's just incredible, and there's a need for it here. And I think it's awesome that you're filling that need.
Thank you. Thank you again.
Yeah. Thank you for being on the podcast, and thank you for listening to Beyond the Falls podcast, and we'll see you on the next show.